There was rarely consent from the family on this, and many times the warden of the hostel consented for the child involved. And there have been medical repercussions as a result of this. More importantly, there's been zero follow-up from these multinational companies to see how the health of the girls is now. A few girls died in the course of these trials, and there has been no follow-up with the families or the girls to determine whether or not the vaccine played a role in that. And it's just a case of poor, marginalized women and girls being used as guinea pigs to test these drugs on. So that case has recently been filed. It hasn't been listed yet for noticing issues, but we're very excited about that case. And we've actually listed the pharmaceutical companies as respondents. So it's a pretty gutsy move on our part, but the crimes are so blatant that we have a very strong case.
And one of the more recent SLPs that we filed in September of this year only was the Pajra versus State of Assam and others. Pajra is an organization in Assam. It's the promotion and advancement of justice and harmony and rights of Adivasi. The director of that organization had contacted HRLN. We had done a fact-finding, filed a PIL at the High Court. And the High Court basically said, we trust that the government of Assam will do what is right. In other words. So then we said, well, we can't trust the state of Assam to do what is right if it has been violating the rights of the people in the tea plantations. So we took up this issue and filed an SLP that was filed in September, and the attorney is Jayshree Sethpathy, who's not here. And in that case, we argue that the women on these tea plantations, the families living on these tea plantations, have a right to decent facilities and have a right to deliver in safe facilities that are staffed with adequate number of doctors and have all the medicines and human resources to have them deliver safely. So this case comes on the heels of another big case that also has to do, or that includes Assam, the International Union of Food and Agriculture versus the Union of India, which was filed also with the Supreme Court in 2006. And that case argued that the situation in the tea plantations was terrible, that workers received no pay, the facilities were terrible, people were being malnourished or didn't have any access to food. So this case comes on the heels of that case. And again we go to the Supreme Court saying, you issued an order and no action was taken. And so we're pushing very hard to get an order that actually, like Carrie said, changes something and does something for the people who have no agency on their own. So I had mentioned that we did some fact findings. One we did in Chhattisgarh on hysterectomies, and also the Ghaziabad maternal health fact finding that was done in UP recently. Both of these fact findings, the main purpose behind these fact findings is to A, get facts, talk to people, and B, to file cases and to give some agency to the people that we meet. So this hysterectomy fact finding and the Ghaziabad maternal health fact finding will both either be standalone PILs or will be issued, filed in support of other cases.
Right, so these are all issues where the petition is done, the petitioner is there, and we're just finalizing everything. So one will be on refugees in Delhi. Another one, we're working with the amazing Dr. Prakasama, who's based in AP, on the condition of labor rooms throughout the country. That'll be filed in the Supreme Court. We're filing a PIL on maternal mortality in Nagpur district in Maharashtra. And the Nagaland Mothers Association is working on a maternal mortality case in Nagaland that will be filed very shortly. So, what else? We have also had a number of meetings and consultations this year. I just want to highlight a few here. DOMA organized an amazing meeting in Sikkim, and this is a really good example of how to create change in your state. The man here is one of the judges from the High Court of Sikkim. He came to the consultation. He made a presentation that was not in line with human rights, but he sat and he listened to people speak. He saw PowerPoint presentations about the conditions in public facilities in his state. And as a result of this, he ordered an investigation into the hospitals after the meeting? Yeah, he ordered an investigation of his own, Sumoto. He asked for an investigation of hospitals. Another person who came to this meeting and presented on rural healthcare in Sikkim is now the petitioner in the PIL that DOMA filed. And this judge is now sensitized to those issues. So when the PIL comes up before his bench, or when it comes up before his colleague's bench, this issue is in the back of their minds. They've seen the photographs from the meeting, they've heard the activists speak, and they know it's a major issue. And this is something that needs to be done in every state. It's how you get petitioners, it's how you get activists excited about the issue, and it's how you tell the judges and lawyers that this is an important issue. Another meeting I want to point out is in Hyderabad, there was a meeting on disability rights. And I went to that meeting, and I spoke at that meeting about the intersection of disability and reproductive rights. Because disabled women and men have their own set of issues revolving reproductive rights issues. And this is also something you can do if you're organizing a meeting on prisoners' rights, or on environmental rights, or on children's rights. Bring in a reproductive rights expert who can talk about the links between all of those different issues. And that's how you get new and interesting petitions. It's how you get activists interested in new areas of the law. And it's how you expand change. And the other meetings we had in Bhopal, Nagaland, Assam, Manipur, those were sort of introductory meetings to the issue of maternal mortality and of reproductive rights.
We also had a state-level consultation in Orissa that the was there for and helped organize. We brought in people from all over the state, from far-reaching and far-flung villages, to talk about the state of maternal mortality in the state. And that was a very successful consultation. We have gotten we've gotten at least one PIL, I believe, out of it, and we're looking to file some RTIs as well. We also had a national consultation just last month that talked on a lot of different topics, and many of you were there for it, and brought in advocates and activists from all over the country to try and bridge the gap between people who see these instances and these occurrences in the field and don't, like I said before, feel agency or don't know what to do with the facts that they collect. So we brought the activists together with advocates who then will take these facts, file a petition with the help of the person who brought in the facts, and then file it with the corresponding court. So it's just to bring people together, because there's sometimes a disconnect between people who are in the field and talking to the women and maybe taking down facts, taking pictures, and the people who are arguing before the court. And these are very important issues that we need to bring to the fore, and so bringing these two people together is of very, very great importance.
So the final component of our work from the past year is our advocacy and RTIs. So we had a big consultation last year that Sanjay ran, and as a result of that, we have a publication called Using the Law for Public Health. And does everyone have a copy of this publication? Okay, so it has all the presentations from last year's consultation. It's right back there if you want to take a look. He's holding it up. So you can take one of these publications with you. And we also, this book here, Claiming Dignity, Reproductive Rights in the Law, is at the printers now. So we'll send them out to all of the units in January or February.
We also, like Carrie said, produced two posters one of them was on NRHM and JSY, basically national entitlements, and just speaking directly to women and families about how they can access these entitlements. So we did one poster and we did one pamphlet brochure that can be easily taken home and studied or explained to somebody who perhaps is illiterate. So we're just trying to get the word out and make sure that women and families are aware of the entitlements that they have. So we've done posters, we've done pamphlets, and with the help of Ahmed in Jharkhand, we filed two RTIs. One was on an investigation on hospital staff and training in hospitals in Jharkhand, and the other was on the posting of child marriage prohibition officers at the district level in Jharkhand. Because under the Child Marriage Prohibition Act, the state is meant to post and assign, make sure that there are no vacancies for CMPOs. And so, through the help of Ahmed, we filed this RTI to see what information you can find in terms of whether they've been posted, how long they've been there, how many child marriages have been registered, how many have been stopped, all of that information, and we're hoping to receive a response.
And the other thing we do that we don't really report this to our funders, but it's a really important part of our work, is working with individuals based on immediate instances in the field. So, for example, this year in Delhi, an activist came to us and told us the story of an HIV-positive woman who delivered her child. No one knew her age. They said maybe 12, 13, 14. She was not doing well mentally, didn't really recognize that she had given birth to a child, and we thought that there might have been a human trafficking element involved. So we worked with our partners in the field to find her a place to live, to make sure that that the police had an interview with her, and she's now back in her home village. Her baby unfortunately passed away, but she went back to her home village and is doing fine now, health-wise at least. And same thing with the woman who gave birth on the platform in Delhi. We were able to go and talk to her. We were able to get entitlements. She didn't want to file a case. She was quite traumatized, but we still reached out to her. We did the fact-finding. We let her know that if she wanted to file a case, we were there for her. And that's the kind of work that doesn't always lead to a legal action, but it helps people in the immediate term. And most recently, we also did one with Shana and Hafi. So Carla read an article in the paper about two women who had been arrested for killing their husbands, and it said that both women wanted an abortion and that they had to file a request with the court. So we got in touch with Shana, who is the attorney in Indore, and she went to the court. It took her a while, but she was able to meet with one of the women who was actually a victim of trafficking and had been sold twice by her husband and was languishing in jail. She didn't have any legal representation. So now Shana, she signed a Vacalatnama with Shana, and Shana will now be representing her. So we also pay attention to what's happening in the news, and we get involved in whatever way we can in these issues. These are the posters that we made on young people's reproductive rights, which have been translated. It's in Hindi and English. So what are the challenges that we face as a unit in terms of our work? The major issue is communication. And I'm going to talk about this later. But we feel an extreme disconnect between our unit and all of the state units, with a few exceptions. And we're going to talk about how we'll meet all these challenges later. Second major challenge is implementation of orders. We have some amazing orders. All of you know about the Lakshmi Mandal order, about the Sumoto order. These orders have not been implemented. They've been ignored entirely. So implementing those is a huge challenge. Finding committed petitioners. Filing a case is easy. Staying with a case for years and ensuring that something happens is not easy. And that's the petition.